What's up guys, Ted from Immersion here, and I'm back with another DM's Guild Spotlight video. I've actually got a request recently to do a handful of these, so there's going to be a few coming out. So if you missed this series, welcome back to DM's Guild Spotlight. If you're not familiar with this is a series where I go through the DM's Guild, and if you don't know what that is, maybe I'll do a video on that just in and of itself. But I talk about content that people have created, give my general review of things, and go over everything. So what am I going to be talking about today? Well, a while back in September of 2016, so over a year and a half ago, I did a video here called a spotlight on this thing called the Tarocchi, or Tarocchi. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but basically what it was is it's this class right here, and basically, I mean, that image shows you sort of a weird mixture of Gambit and McCree from Overwatch, but basically it's a card caster. It's in someone who uses playing cards to enhance their magic. That's the way their whole magic is based on. Now, I was pretty harsh on it in some aspects. The fact that it couldn't get the spelling right, like it flip-flop, 2 C's, 1 C, 2 R's, 1 R. You can see right there, that's what I'm talking about as we go through. But I actually did get a request from a comment right here from Damian Freeman. Would you go back and review it? A lot of things have changed. So again, here it is on the DM's Guild. You can go and pick this up yourself. It is pay what you want. So the suggested price is $4.99. You guys can pay whatever you want. But I did want to show you, since I own it, we can look right here. So remember, I did my review in September of 16. You can see in, I guess this was August of 17, huge update. Art's been added to the PDF, the spell list has been vastly expanded and curated, many features have been changed or improved, 2 new subclasses have been added, rules for multi-classes have been added, rules for expanding card casting to work with other classes have been enhanced. They added a printer-friendly version, text fixes and clarifications. I was allowed to use a different art asset, and this document has been updated to include Xanathar's Guide to Everything spells. So we're going to go ahead and click this and go with the and download the non-printer friendly version to be able to see what these options are. So then I'm going to switch over here, and we've got the new class here. So let's take a look. Now again, mind you, I haven't really gone back to look at this since I looked at it back in 16. And I was actually planning on playing this class in our Out of the Abyss playthrough, but I know that when you start Out of the Abyss, you start with no weapons or no items, so I thought it would be kind of difficult to play a character in the Underdark when your whole thing is based on your power pack, as it is called, your tuck box of cards, if you will. And I didn't want to basically not have any of my abilities because I wouldn't have the cards. So perhaps I will revisit this class at some point in the future, but let's go ahead and see what we've got. So first of all, we can see, again, there is art added, which is very nice. So we can see a description of the class. You need to have, again, a deck of 52 standard playing cards to use this, to be able to play it. And then here it is from 1st to 20. So we still have the hand size limit, which is the amount of cards you can have. That does still increase over time. Up to 6 cantrips. I don't remember what it was before. And I'm not going to be doing too much of a comparison from the old version, but more or less just going over the new one, because going and flipping back and forth would take even longer, and the last video I think was almost an hour. And then we can see your spell level access goes all the way up to 9 as per all of the other classes. So D8 hit die, you get simple weapons, light armor, gaming set playing cards, wisdom, charisma, and 2 skills. And here's the suggestion: make Constitution your second skill, Charisma your first, and what to choose. So, and then again, okay, so this is still similar. The way you play cards is based on the suits and the numerical value of the card lets you do things. So you can see 2 through 9 of any suit is a cantrip, 10s are first levels, jacks second, queen of any suit is third, and then it goes on and on from kings up to aces. So, some event in the past, blah, blah, blah. You basically, unlike other magic users, you use this powerful deck of cards, right? That's the whole thing. Along with a magical deck of cards that you come into possession of, you're able to compound magic with any cards in general. And we'll see that as we go through. So hand size. What is hand size? At level 1, you have a hand size of 5. You can draw up to your maximum hand size, and then we saw that increases, I think, up to 7. As a bonus action on your turn, your hand persists until you finish a long rest. You cast a spell, you must play a card of the appropriate spell level from your hand. Any card in the deck can be cast as a cantrip. So even if you are level 1 and don't have access to 9th level spells, but you have an Ace of Spades, you could use it to play a cantrip. To play a card as anything other than the cantrip, it must be of the appropriate level, like we talked about right here with the different suits. Once you cast a spell, the card is discarded until you finish a long rest. Your hand size increases. You may discard cards from your hand at any time without an action. Once a card is discarded, it is lost until you finish a long rest, at which point all cards return to your deck. This includes cards which may have been left in other areas or even destroyed. To cast the spell at a higher level, you must play a card of a higher rank when you cast the spell. When you do so, the spell is cast at the level of the higher card to a maximum of your highest spell level. For example, if you're a first level Tarocchi and you know the first level spell Cure Wounds, and your hand includes a 10, Jack, Queen, and King, and an Ace, you can play the 10 to cast Cure Wounds as a first level, because 10s are first level. Your higher cards, the Jack, Queen, King, and Ace, can only be used as cast as cantrips until you reach the appropriate levels of the card slots available. So again, you can't upcast beyond slots that you have. Makes sense, like any other class. This was if you were a first level character. So if you were a higher level, if you had all the way up to, say, if you had an Ace of Diamonds and you were character high enough, level 11, to cast a 6th level spell, you could cast a 6th level Cure Wounds utilizing that card. You know, 4 cantrips, and you get other ones as you level up. Spells known, I believe, is what you have. Yes, spells known up to 15. And you use charisma as your main stat, although it does say Tarocchi's written charismatic charlatan type. However, you could choose to be intelligence-based if you want to be more of a... I like this little text box here. If you want to be more of the card counting type, you know, the intelligent card player rather than the charismatic. I feel like the charismatic Tarocchi has more of a... that's how I'm going to say it, by the way, Tarocchi. I don't know if that's right, but that's how I'm going to say it. Because I think like tarot card, Tarocchi. Kind of gets you that whole card shark from the Old West vibe, but I guess if you're more of the card calculating type, you could go intelligence. And let's see, you can basically replace, whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one, and it has to be of a level you can cast. You can play cards, with, let's see, the cards you play count as your spellcasting focus, and if you run out of cards, when you have no cards remaining in your deck or your hand, you can take a bonus action to draw 2 magical jokers into your hand. These cards can only be used as cantrips and disappear immediately once they are used to cast spells. When you finish a long rest, any jokers in your hand disappear. So this is basically a way to make sure you never you don't ever run out of stuff, right? Because the benefit of being a caster in 5e is your cantrips are unlimited, and the thought process behind that being, if I run out of all of my spell slots, I can still use my cantrips. Well, based on the fact that this class uses cards, rather, to cast cantrips, if you cast all of your spells and use all 52 cards in the deck, which, mind you, is a lot, but I guess it depends on your adventuring day, you can draw magical jokers, so you can still keep using cantrips, although that does use your bonus action, which is unfortunate. Bonus action to then use cantrips, and you'd get 2 cards, so then on your next turn you could use another bonus action. I guess you could continue to build up your hand with jokers, and then you could have a whole bunch, so you could use all your cantrips. But force a card. As a Tarocchi, the master of getting the cards you need in a turn, it works in your favor. First level, you can take an action to search your deck for a single card and add it to your hand, so as long as you are not already at your hand limit. After you take this card as an action, shuffle your deck. You can use this feature in equal times equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier. When you finish a long rest, you regain all expended uses. So that's cool. So so there is a degree of randomness to this class in that, and I believe in the old version this was much later. This ability came later, but you can essentially try to pull a card that you want from your deck to allow you to cast this spell. Like, it would really be great if we could cast a 2nd level Cure Wounds, and you pull a Jack to your hand. They do have this here, which is your language. This kind of how it works. So rank, the rank of a card is its numerical value. If a card has a rank of 3, which includes the 3 card in all 4 suits, or a rank of 9, or king, or so on. Discard means getting rid of it without playing it. Playing it is actually playing a card. And then the power pack. Similar to a wizard's spell book, you have your power pack. It's typically just a box, but it can also become some sort of special thing. You get to design what it looks like, again, similar to a spell book. So long as its housing is intact and complete, all your cards will return when you finish a long rest. If the pack itself is destroyed, however, the magic of the cards cease to exist. Your pack is a powerful magic item, and so is more resilient. If the pack is destroyed, you will need to replace it. It takes 2 hours and 50 gold pieces per spell level that you have access to. Once you have forged a new pack to hold your cards, they reform normally. So this was my side where I was a little worried about in Out of the Abyss. If I had to make a new one, how often am I going to come by playing cards in the Underdark to make a new one? Second level, Misdirection. Choose one of your skill proficiencies. You basically get expertise in one. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for that ability check. Additionally, you can make Deception or Sleight of Hand skill check as a bonus action on your turn. So sort of like a fast hands type ability. Stack the deck. Once per day when you finish a short rest, you can take any amount of a single rank of card in your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. This includes court cards, but not aces. The rank of king is split in half according to your slots. The king of diamonds and the king of hearts counts as a single rank, and the king of clubs and the king of spades counts as a single rank. So this is a way to basically, almost like a wizard's short rest, and that's, I'm sure, what it's based off of, a wizard's short rest ability to regain spell slots. You can add spells back to your deck. Those count as separate ranks. Game of choice, this is your subclass that you choose. Now we have a couple options. Before we just had, I think, poker, Mao, and euchre. Now we also have blackjack and spades. You get an ability at 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 14th level. Equivocation, this is a new one. Let's see, when you receive randomized results from a game of chance or a magic item, including drawing a card from your power pack, you can instantly take one additional result and choose between the two. The result you do not choose is placed back into its source at random if possible. This happens magically, and creatures without true sight can't notice you replacing a result. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest. I think my go-to example when I discussed it last time was the deck of many things. If you were to draw from a deck of many things and say, I'm going to make one draw, you could draw one and then draw a second card, choose which one you wanted, and shuffle the other one back in. That is definitely a metagaming situation, I would say. Unless you're very familiar with a deck of many things, you wouldn't know what it is. But if you're using the true deck and not a deck of playing cards, when you look like, oh, a golden crown or a death guy, let's probably go with the crown. So, or it says, or anything of chance. So perhaps a wand of wonder. I'm not sure. I guess it's really up to your DM to decide how that works. Ability score improvements are as expected. Ace in the Hole, 5th level. You can use an action to designate one card which remains in your power pack and cast a spell which has a casting time of 1 action or 1 bonus action using that card. When you do so, search your power pack for the card and discard it, and then shuffle your deck. Once you use this feature, you must finish a long rest before you can use it again. Starting at 18th level, you can use this twice before a rest. So what this means is, essentially, this is your ace in the hole. You cast the card without actually having the card in your hand, if I'm reading that correctly. So let's check that again. You use an action to designate one card which remains in your deck, your power pack, and cast a spell which has a casting time of 1 action or 1 bonus action using that card. So again, this is at 5th level, so let's say, I don't know if they get access to Fireball, but if that may have changed, but let's say you have access to Fireball, and you don't have any 3rd level cards in your hand, and you already used all of your Force a Card ability to pull a card to your hand. And again, remind you, Force a Card is an action to pull that card into your hand. So that is probably best used outside of combat to use Force of Card rather than in combat. But this, Ace in the Hole, is like, oh shit, we could really benefit from a Fireball right now. I'm going to designate the Queen of Hearts to cast a Fireball. And then you cast the spell, and then you search through your deck and discard that card. Once per long rest. It's a cool ability. Again, definitely, I feel like the original version of this I saw first before it hit the DM's Guild. Not like these abilities were very limited, so you were very much, and no pun intended here, left to the luck of the draw on what spells you could cast. They have definitely added in a handful of cool abilities like this to let you have more control over your spells, because I feel like this is a really cool class in theory, but there's probably nothing more frustrating than looking at it and being like, fuck, I can't do what I wanted to do because I don't have the cards that I need. But again, that's sort of why you play this class, I feel. You know what you're getting into. And I would highly recommend don't jump into this class as your first D&D class for sure. And it's definitely, the reason I wanted to do it is I thought it would be quite challenging as someone who's more of a veteran player and has played most of the D&D classes out there in one fashion or another. So this was something different. Homebrew is always fun because it's different, and it would also give me a challenge in trying to think strategically using these cards. Cold Reading at 10th level. If you spend at least a minute observing or interacting with another creature outside of combat, you can learn certain information, and you can choose 2 of the following: intelligence, wisdom, charisma score, passive perception, current spell slots, total class levels, maximum spell level, if any. Again, as I talk about homebrew classes often, this is cool. It's always good to see recycling of sort of existing abilities by other classes in the player's handbook or other supplemental books, because they're balanced in and of themselves, and getting this ability at 10th level I don't think is bad. It also makes sense. If you're a poker player or a card player, chances are you can read people pretty well, so this fits into that. And then lastly, bottom dealing. Whenever you play a card with a rank of Queen or lower, instead of discarding it, you can place the card on the bottom of your deck. At any time, you can play that card as though it were a card in your hand. At that point, discard it. So this is, again, it's your capstone ability, right? So it should be powerful. So you play a card with the rank, so you have to have this card to play it. Whenever you play a card, although I guess you could... You technically ace in the hole. You don't technically play the card. You just cast the spell and get rid of the card. So that is a distinction. So you play this card, right? Okay, I'm going to cast Fireball or whatever, like we used as an example, which may or may not be a spell they have. Cast that spell with a rank of Queen, so it's a 3rd level or lower spell. Then you place that card on the bottom of your deck. And then at any time, you can play that card as though it were in your hand and then discard it. So basically, you get a double cast of whatever that is, which is pretty cool. And it doesn't affect your hand size. Okay, so that's the base Tarocchi. Now we're going to jump into the spell list, and then we're going to jump into the subclasses. So here we go. And it does have designations. This little cross type symbol is spells that are listed in Xanathars. So your cantrips, Chill Touch, Create Bonfire, Dancing Lights, Friends, Light, Mage Hand, Mending, Message, Minor Illusion, Prestidigitation, Produce Flame, Ray of Frost, Resistance, Shocking Grasp, Spare the Dying, and Thunderclap. We have a lot of good options. We have all of the good utility ones in Mage Hand, Mending, Message, Minor Illusion, and Prestidigitation. And we have a handful of good ones for damaging. Chill Touch is great. I love Create Bonfire personally. We also have some healing, cleric-y type ones like Spare the Dying and Resistance. First level, Absorb Elements, always good. Animal Friendship, Catapult, Cause Fear, Chaos Bolt. I like Chaos Bolt for this class a lot. I'm a big fan. Charm Person, Chromatic Orb, Color Spray, Command, Create or Destroy Water. Again, you got Cure Wounds, so that's great. Detect Magic. You don't have Ritual Casting, so keep that in mind. Disguise Self, Featherfall, Fog Cloud, Heroism, Identify, Illusory Script, Magic Missile, Ray of Sickness, and Shield, Silent Image, Sleep, Snare, Thunderwave, and Witch Bolt. That's a wonderful spell list to choose from. You've got things like Healing from Cure Wounds. You've got Shield, which is awesome. Absorb Elements. Things like Magic Missile for guaranteed damage. You've got some funkiness in Chaos Bolt, but you've also got Sleep, Thunderwave, some good stuff. This is a pretty solid spell list. I'm not entirely sure. I can't really... used to be able to pinpoint what classes they were grabbing from. This looks to be pulled from a bit of Cleric, with Wizard is my guess. But like a little bit of Sorcerer too with Chaos Bolt. Second level, Alter Self, Arcane Lock, Augury, Detect Magic, Enhance Ability, Enlarge, Reduce, Healing Spirit. So you've got one of the best healing spells in the game, the Healing Sprinkler. Invisibility, Knock, Lesser Restoration, Levitate, Locate Object, Minor Illusion, Misty Step. So good. Pyrotechnics, Ray of Enfeeblement, Rope Trick, See Invisibility, Scorching Ray, Spiritual Weapon, and Suggestion. Second level, you've got some awesome options. You've got some of the best healing options out there in Healing Spirit. You have wonderful utility in Invisibility, Knock, Suggestion. You also have Spiritual Weapon, which gives you a bonus action attack if you choose to go that route. Misty Step and Mirror Image, great defensive spells. And then, like, Scorching Ray kind of seemed out of left field, but I'll take it. Third level, Animate Dead, Bestow Curse, Catnap. I really like that spell. Clairvoyance, Counterspell, and Dispel Magic. As I was right, we do have Fireball. So Fireball and Fly, awesome spells. Lightning Bolt as well. Remove Curse. We've Revivify. We have Resurrection Magic. Sending, which is great. Speak with Dead, Thunderstep, and Vampiric Touch. So you've got some great third level spell options. This is really good. Fourth level, Charm Monster, Compulsion, Death Ward, Dimension Door, Fabricate, Locate Creature, Phantasmal Killer, Polymorph, and Vitriolic Sphere. Fourth level spells are a little weird in my book. I feel like a lot of really good classes, you have like a handful of good fourth level options, but like third are really good and fifth are really good, and usually you don't get a whole bunch, but we've got Polymorph, Phantasmal Killer, Dimension Door. We also have Vitriolic Sphere, so we've got some good damage as well as some good utility here, and Death Ward. Bigby's Hand, Contagion, Creation, Dance Macabre, my favorite spell of Xanathar's Guide, I'd say. Dominate Person, Dream, Gaius, Greater Restoration, Immolation, Legend Lore, Mislead, Modify Memory, Raise Dead, Scrying, Seeming, and Telekinesis. Got some good damaging based ones, got some good utility ones, some healing options. We have Raise Dead, Mislead, and Modify Memory. These are just great spells. This is a great spell list. And I'm okay with the spell list being this powerful because you are limited in what you can cast by the cards. So if the cards fall in your favor, you could be a total badass, but you might be stuck casting cantrips. You never know. 6th level, Circle of Death, Contingency, Create Undead, Find the Path, Globe of Invulnerability, Guards and Wards, Mental Prison, Auto's Irresistible Dance, Planar Ally, Programmed Illusion, and True Seeing. Very cool. 7th level, Delayed Blast, Fireball, Mirage Arcane, Prismatic Spray, Project Image, Regenerate, Resurrection, and Symbol. Awesome. 8th level, Anti-Magic Field, Control Weather, Earthquake, Feeble Mind, Glibness. Oh, Illusory Dragon. Love that. And Maddening Darkness. Plus Glibness, like, this is a class where you only have 15 spell slots, so you have to be very careful because you have a lot of good options. Mind Blank and Power Word Stun, and then 9th level Foresight, Invulnerability, Power Word Kill, Time Stop, Weird, and Wish. This is a fantastic spell list. The cantrips are good. You have a great utility combination of damage, out of combat utility, as well as healing. Big fan. Alright, game of choice. So now let's look at the subclass abilities. So again, Blackjack was not an option when I reviewed this last time. So, this gives you some other abilities, and perhaps we get additional spells via this, so let's see. Also known as 21. Let's see what we get here. Basic premise is that each player has a pile of cards. Oh, so it's just describing Blackjack. Hit Me. Beginning when you choose this game at 3rd level, you have the ability to generate extra cards to cast. When a creature hits you for the first time each turn with an attack, I love that Hit Me is actually when you are hit. You generate a Blackjack card. This card is drawn from the top of your deck and placed face up in front of you. Each time you are hit by an attack, a new card is... This is so cool. Each time you are hit by an attack, a new card is added to the 21 pile. You must keep a running total of the ranks of cards in your 21 pile. Face cards count as 10 for the purposes of Blackjack, while aces count as either 1 or 11. Again, if you're familiar with Blackjack or 21, this is the same thing. Any card from your 21 pile can be cast as though it was in your hand. So now we have your hand and your 21 pile. You have just expanded your hand potentially to quite a bit if you have a lot of cards. So that's a great way to just increase your ability for what you have access to cast right off the bat. If the total of cards in your 21 pile ever exceeds 21, all the cards are immediately discarded. If the total of your cards in your 21 pile ever equals exactly 21, you immediately draw all cards from your 21 pile into your hand, even if this would exceed your hand limit, and gain a blackjack for 1 minute. At any time during this minute, when you would roll a d20, you can instead choose to not roll the die and simply treat the result as though you had rolled a 20, and gain a +1 bonus to the result. You can only have a single blackjack at a time. All cards in your 21 pile return to your deck when you finish a long rest. So let's read that again, because maybe I misread that. If ever your 21 pile equals exactly 21, you can immediately draw all cards from your 21 pile into your hand and gain a blackjack for a minute. I don't believe it means an actual blackjack card. But you get a blackjack at any time during this minute. When you would roll a d20, you can instead choose to not roll the die and simply treat the result as though you had rolled a 20. You gain a +1 bonus to the result. So you roll a 20. So you're treating your die roll as a 20. So you basically get free natural 20s for a minute. And you get a +1 to that natural 20. So that doesn't really make a lot. I guess it's because it's 21. I get it. I made it there, Internet. I made it. You can only have one single blackjack at a time. So if you continue to get hit, you can't have multiple blackjacks. So you have your blackjack turn for a minute. Anytime this minute you require a d20 roll. All cards. So I'm just trying to see. So it just lasts for a minute. And yeah, you can only have one blackjack at a time. But that's unlimited. You can do that as many times as it comes up. Granted, it does involve you getting hit to have this ability work, so I'm okay with that. Double Down. Starting at 6th level, you can take a bonus action to add a single card from your hand. Ooh, this is powerful. At 6th level, take a bonus action to add a single card from your hand to your 21 pile. You cannot start a 21 pile in this way, only add to an existing one. Okay. And, it's so exploitable. When a creature hits you for the first time, your friends can hit you. It says when a creature, does not state when an enemy hits you. So if you don't have any blackjack cards, you can just go to, like, your ally, be like, yo, punch me in the face. And they hit you, blackjack card. You can walk up to your friend and literally say, hit me. And then you get it. Okay. I like it, but it could be exploited. Like, if they hit you and you're like, whoop, look, there's an ace. Well, I have a face card in my hand. Wait until we get into combat. Double down. 21. Let's just mess some shit up. Because you can get a natural 20. Do we have any super high damaging attack spells? We know we have Witch Bolt, which is not great, but if you had an automatic natural 20, that's pretty solid. You could do an automatic natural 20 punch with a Big B's hand. That could be pretty solid. We have a Scorching Ray. So we'd have to take a look at it. I mean, you could crit on a cantrip if you wanted. Chaos Bolt could be fun with a natural 20. So we have some options, but just some stuff to think about. At 10, Surrender. You can give the appearance of defeat. You can cast the Feign Death spell, but only as a ritual. Okay, not bad. And then Split. At 14th level, you gain the ability to start multiple 21... Oh, this is going to be a lot to keep track of, but it could be useful. You can start multiple 21 piles in front of you by splitting cards of the same rank. If the only two cards of a 21 pile are the same rank, so this could be 2 3s, this could be 2 queens, you can split them into 2 separate 21 piles. Whenever you gain a new blackjack card, you can choose to add it to either pile. Each pile can generate a separate blackjack, which allows you to have 2 blackjacks at the same time. You cannot start a new 21 pile until all cards in front of you are either discarded or taken into your hand. So the way that's described is it sounds like that's the only way you can have 2 blackjacks. So if it ever equals 21, draw all your cards into your hand. And gain a blackjack for a minute. Yeah, I feel like there's some terminology missing here. Maybe I'm wrong, Internet, and I'd love your opinion. But to me, it sounds like like this should be a limited resource, right? Like it shouldn't just be because you can only ever have one blackjack. But if your card ever equals 21, you immediately, so you don't get to choose when to activate your blackjack. It happens immediately. You gain a blackjack for a minute. So okay, I think the way I'm reading it, and maybe okay, I think I get what it's supposed to say, but I don't think it's written correctly. You draw all those cards into your hand, even if this would exceed your maximum hand limit. Here's the thing, though. Those cards just stay in your hand, and your hand limit increases. And then you have a blackjack for a minute. During that minute, at any time during this minute, when you would roll a d20, you can choose to not roll, get a 20 plus 1, and that's it. What it's supposed to, I think, say is that you now have... That's basically, it is expended. You can do it, it should say... It says at any time during this minute. I think it should... What it's trying to illustrate is that once you use that, it is gone. It's not every time you were to roll during a minute. It is the first time that you choose to use it during that minute. You use your blackjack, and then it's gone. Meanwhile, your hand is still increased by that hand limit size, which is cool. But I get it now. With the 14th level ability, I get it, but it does need clarification that you can choose to use it, but once it is used one time, it is gone. That's, I think, what it's trying to say is you can only have a single blackjack at a time unless you're down here and you have 2, which means that twice during whenever you activate it, you could be like, okay, I have 2, so the next 2 20s, I'm going to choose to make them natural 20s. I get that now, but it's just poorly worded there. Okay, so Euchre, this was, I believe, this is just Euchre, the game of Euchre, which I'm not really familiar with. So basically, the crux of the game is that it's played with a smaller deck than normal as players attempt to take tricks. So, beginning when you choose Euchre at 3rd level. By the way, Blackjack, I do like it. I like that it's based on you being hit, but that is it's a high risk, high reward, which is Blackjack in general. So that's pretty cool. Standard deck, you can pare down your power pack to better ensure you get powerful cards. When you finish a long rest and your cards reform in your pack, you can choose any ranks of cards between 2 and 8. These cards are removed from your deck entirely until your next long rest. For each rank you choose to remove in this way, you gain 1 temporary hit point. So you don't have to remove all of them, but you can remove all cards of 2 to 8, and it's for each rank. So if you remove all the deuces, you get 1 temporary hit point. For example, I guess I should have waited. At 1st level, if you choose ranks 2, 3, 4, and 5, then you will remove all 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5 from your deck, and you will gain 4 temporary hit points. If you choose all ranks 2 to 8, you will gain 7 temporary hit points. The amount of temporary hit points you gain when removing a rank increases by 1 when you reach 5th level, to 11 when you reach, at 11 it's 3, and 17 it's 4. So it increases when cantrips increase, and potentially you could get an extra 21 temporary hit points if you remove all of those at level 17. Knock. Starting at 6th level, you have the ability to pass your turn for greater benefit later. You can choose to give up your action and all of your movement this turn. If you do so, you gain 1 additional action on your next turn. You can only ever gain 1 additional action. So skip this turn to do 2 actions next turn. Table Talk at 10th level, Rary's Telepathic Bond as a ritual. Very powerful ability to have. I like that. And 15th, Best Bower, I'm going to guess. You have the ability to use your jacks as more powerful spells. You can take a bonus action to choose a color, either red or black. Until you finish a long rest, the jacks in your power pack of that color can be used to cast slots of up to 5th level. So this sort of makes you almost Warlockian in that respect. So jacks, as we know, are typically used to cast 2nd level spells, but now you could choose either your red or your black jacks, and they now cast 5th level versions of their spells rather than 2nd level. Very cool. Mao is basically solitaire. I don't know why it's called Mao here, but it basically is. So Mao begins now. Beginning at 3rd level, you construct your discard pile differently than other Tarocchi. While other Tarocchi simply discard their cards whenever they wish, you must play your cards in a certain order. This is very complicated because you are essentially playing solitaire. Once you play your first card after a long rest, new cards must be played off of the previous cards. This is done in one of two ways. The next card played must either match the suit of the previous card played, or else it must match the rank. They changed this. It used to basically be solitaire, so if you played a 2, you had to play a 3, then a 4 of the same suit. Now it's both. It could be red or it could be numerical. If you play a card that does not match this convention on the previous card played, you gain a level of exhaustion. You can always discard cards without playing them, which are placed at the bottom of your discard pile, so you can continue to play off your previously played cards. Despite normally being separate ranks, kings and aces can be played off of previous ones for the purposes of Mal. So long as you play by the rules, your spells become more powerful. Each cantrip you play according to the rules, which deals damage, is cast with a damage increase as though you were the next level. So if you were at first level, it counted as if you were at 5th. At 17th level, your cantrips gain another increase beyond their normal bonus, so it just adds another die. Each spell of first level and higher you play according to the rules cast as though one higher than normal, to your maximum spell level. So if you were playing this, again, you play a 2 of hearts, you can only play either another heart or another 2, or another 3, rather. Must play, new cards must be played off the next card is one of two ways. Must match the suit or it must match the rank. It doesn't say that it has to be increasing in order, I don't think. Am I reading that wrong? Once you play your first card, the next one is done one of two ways. The next card must either match the suit of the previous card played, or else it must match the rank. It has to match the rank. If you play a card that does not meet the previous convention, you gain a level of exhaustion. You can always discard cards without playing them, placing them on the bottom. Despite not being separate ranks, kings and aces can be played off previous ones for the purposes of... Yeah, so, alright, so if you play a 2 of hearts, you either have to play another heart or another 2. So that's how that works, because if it was a 2 of spades, then now you can play spades. Okay, I get it now. So, if you were to play a, let's say, a 10 of hearts, which would cast a first level spell, if you're playing the next card on there follows that convention, it would then be still like if you played a 10 of spades on that 10 of hearts, it casts the spell at a second level rather than at a first level. So it gets increased because you're purposefully limiting yourself in what you can cast. It gets a bonus. So cantrips are cast up, and your cantrips actually get a boost at 17th level. Reverse order. You have the ability to reverse turn order temporarily. As a bonus action on your turn, you can invoke a reverse command. Once your turn is complete, instead of the next creature in initiative taking its turn, the previous creature takes its turn. So basically you go, then the previous creature before you goes. So this is a great way, especially if you all roll high and you're last in initiative. You go, then you say reverse, and then it goes to whoever was before you and going backwards. Once your turn is complete, instead of the next creature going, the previous creature takes its turn. This continues with initiative going in backward order until it returns to you. Once you complete your turn, initiative returns to normal. Once you use this feature, you can complete a short or long rest before you can use it again. So the only downside to that is the creature before you go. So you go, it goes all the way around. So the creature that would have gone next goes. Then you go, then that creature gets to go again, like twice, because it reverses. At 10th level, you can cast a commune spell, but only as a ritual. When you do so, a deity or extraplanar being that is friendly towards you appears and answers your question. So you can see there's a pattern. The 10th level ability is a ritual spell. And then at 14th, have a nice day. Whenever you play a 7, you can order a target within 30 feet of you to have a nice day. The next attack roll made against the target within the next minute has advantage. You can choose, you order a target within 30 feet of you, which you can see to have a nice day. The next attack roll against this target within the next minute has advantage. Cool. Poker. This one was here last time. I liked poker. It is basically what you would imagine, that you can increase the power of your cards based on playing poker hands. 2 of a kind, a pair, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, full house, and so on. So winning hand. As a poker player, you have the ability to play multiple cards at once to enhance your spell effects. At 3rd level, you can play any of the poker hands. You see them off to the side. When you play a winning hand, you must play an entire poker hand of 5 cards, even if the winning hand you play does not require 5 cards. You must cast a single spell when you play the hand, which can be a spell from any of the cards in the hand. So, basically, if you're using only 2 pair, 4 out of the 5 cards, you still have to play all 5 of your cards, but it could be any of those 5 to cast that spell. So if it's 2 queens, I mean, that's a bad example. If it's 2 tens, 2 jacks, and a 3, you could either cast the 2nd level, 1st level, or cantrip, because it's all 5, any of the 5. Poker pile. When you play a winning hand, you put a number of cards used to play the hand into a separate discard pile called the poker pile. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, take all cards in the poker pile and shuffle them back into your power pack. So this is the cards related to this. In that example where it's 2 pair, those 4 cards go in the poker pile, that 5th card goes to the discard. You know what, let's just go through those now. So basically, here's all the different hands. So 2 pair. This hand contains at least 2 cards of the same rank and 2 cards of another rank. When you play this hand, you can cast 2 spells with a casting time of 1 action, 1 for each pair. Discard 1 card from each pair and place the remaining 3 cards into the poker pile. Okay, so it tells you what to do. So this basically gives you twin spell. You cast 2 spells of a singular action based on the ranking. 3 of a kind. This hand contains at least 3 cards of the same rank. Whenever you have 3 of a kind in your hand, you or an ally within 60 feet who would take damage from a spell or weapon attack you cast, when you can cast a spell with a casting time of 1 action or a bonus. I misread that entirely. Let's start that again. When you have 3 of a kind in your hand, and you or an ally within 60 feet would take damage from a spell or a weapon attack, you can cast a spell with a casting time of 1 action or 1 bonus action as a reaction. So this lets you, when someone takes damage, it lets you cast a spell. To discard 2 of the 3 identical cards and place the remaining 3 cards. Discard 2 of the 3 identical cards and place the remaining 3 in the poker pile. Got it. Straight. This hand contains at least 5 cards in sequential rank. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. When you play this hand, all targets affected by the spell have disadvantage on the first saving throw made against the spell. Discard the 3 highest cards in the hand and place the remaining 2 in the poker pile. Flush. This is all cards of the same suit. All hearts or spades. When you play this hand to cast a spell, you can choose for any of the targets of the spell to also be under the effects of the haste or slow spell, your choice, until the end of your next turn. Discard the 2 highest cards from the flush and place the remaining in the poker pile. Full house. This contains 2 of one card and 3 of another. When you play this card, same rank, I should say. Same rank. So 2 3s and 4 4, or 3 4s rather. When you play this hand to cast a spell which requires concentration, you do not need to make Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration when you take damage. I really like that. It's just to get around concentration. Discard the 3 same rank cards and keep the 2 off-rank cards in your hand. So that's a tricky one because you're not technically using concentration for that spell. Does that mean you get to then cast another spell that is also concentration because this one does not require it? I guess, let me rephrase. It does still require concentration. You just don't need to make the saves. So I guess I answered my own question. You just can't fail the concentration checks. 4 of a kind. For taking damage. I guess if you went unconscious, the spell would still end. 4 of a kind. 4 of the same kind of card. 4 of the same rank. So 4 4s. When you play this hand and cast a spell that targets only 1 creature that doesn't have a range of self, you can target 3 other creatures with this spell. So this is like a twin spell, but on steroids. Discard all 4 cards and put the last 5th card that wasn't part of it in the poker pile. And a straight flush, one of the rarest of poker hands. 5 cards, all in sequential order, all of the same suit. This hand contains 5 cards of sequential rank, all the same suit. When you play this hand, any dice you would roll for the spell, not including attack rolls, are maximized to taking their highest value. So this is your fireball. Your fireball does max damage, and the entire hand goes in the discard. Okay, so that was the winning hands. Now let's talk about the other abilities we get. So we get Hold'em. So this is Texas Hold'em. On your turn, you can take a bonus action to place up to 3 cards in front of you as Hold'em cards. These cards remain in front of you for 1 minute, during which time you can draw back up to your normal hand limit. While they do not count against your hand limit, they can be used in conjunction with cards in your hand to make a winning hand, as per Texas Hold'em rules. They are considered played whenever you make a winning hand and are discarded normally. If the Hold'em cards are not used within a minute, they're discarded. So this is really powerful. You choose which 3 cards? Place up to 3 cards in front of you as Hold'em cards. It doesn't say where they come from. My assumption as someone who's played Texas Hold'em is they come from the deck. You put 3 cards in front of you. But if you could put 3 cards from your... Actually, no. You could still... These cards count for a minute, and during which time you can draw back up to your full hand limit. So it sounds like you can play the 3 cards from your hand, which makes it almost too much, right? Like you have 3 of a kind in your hand. You play 3 of a kind. You hope you get 2 more. You have a full house. Okay. 10th level, as we decided before, you do get this kind of ritual spell. Cozy Table, I love this one. You can cast Leomund's Tiny Hut, but only as a ritual. When you do so, you can also cast Tensor's Floating Disc as part of the same ritual. So basically, you make a controlled bubble, and you have the poker table now on your Tensor's Floating Disc, which I thought is pretty cool. 14th level, you have All In. You can target 1 creature within 60 feet as a bonus action. You and the creature roll a d20. The highest of the rolls is the victor. The victor of the roll has advantage on attack rolls against the loser. The loser has disadvantage on all saving throws from the effects initiated by the victor. This lasts for 1 minute. Once this effect ends, the target is immune to this effect for 24 hours, but you can initiate the effect against a new target. I really like that. It's a roll-off, very thematic for the class. Also fits the kind of all-in mentality. Okay, and then we have Spades, which is the last new one here. Kitty card, or it might have been here, but I think some of these were part of, they like moved stuff around. So Kitty card. This card is sometimes affectionately referred to as a variant of Spades, allowing a bidding player to pass a card to their ally and to receive one in return. This card is sometimes affectionately called the Kitty card. Beginning at 3rd level, whenever you choose this game, you can play a card of 5th level. Play a card for a spell of 5th level or lower, naming the spell you cast into it. However, unlike a normal casting of the spell, you can identify the card as a Kitty card. This traps the spell's magic in the card, but does not cast the spell immediately. Once the card has been designated as a Kitty card, it can be given to another creature to hold. At any time, that creature can touch the Kitty card and use an action to say a code word that you come up with together. This allows the creature to cast the spell. The spell activates as though you were casting it using your stuff. This includes using your level and your spell save DC for any targets which are affected by the spell. However, the range and area activate from the creature holding the card, which chooses any targets and makes any spell attack rolls required, although their roll still uses your ability modifier. If the spell requires concentration, the creature activating the spell card must maintain concentration on it. You can only have 1 Kitty card active at a time. If you create a new Kitty card before an existing one is activated, the old Kitty card loses its power. Regardless of when it's created, all cards, including unexpended Kitty cards, go back into your deck after a long rest. This is a way to give healing to a class that doesn't have healing or damage or range or anything of that. I really like that ability. Pretty cool. Trump card. When you or an ally within 30 feet of you are subject to a weapon attack, you can use a reaction to play any card in the Spade suit from your hand to cast a spell with a casting time of 1 action or 1 bonus action. You can use this feature once and regain the ability to do so when you finish a short or long rest. Partners. Spades is a game most often played with a partner, and you can find a partner no matter where you go. Being at 10th level, you can cast Comprehend Languages, Find Familiar, and Unseen Servant spells, but only as rituals. Very cool. And lastly, First Trick Clubs. Starting at 14th level, you can use your power to cast one of your cards in order to gain a supreme advantage over other creatures. When you roll initiative, you can play the 2 of clubs as part of your roll. If you do so, you treat your initiative as though you had rolled a 20 and have advantage on the first attack you make during the initiative. If you would be surprised, you are not surprised. So this is very specific. It has to be a 2 of clubs. And then we have multi-classing rules, charisma of 13, and then proficiency. If you do multi-class into this, you get proficiency, 1 skill from the class's skill list, and gaming set playing cards, and expanding card casting. So this is basically if you wanted to use this to grant another class the ability to use card magic. Replace the spellcasting feature of the class with the card shark feature from the Tarocchi. Some adjustments will need to be made depending on the class to which you add the card magic. Hand size. The hand size for all classes other than Tarocchi is 5 at all levels. Cantrips. A class must learn cantrips in order for the card magic system to work. A class which does not learn cantrips cannot use card magic. For a class which does learn cantrips, their number of cantrips known are unchanged. The spell slots are replaced by those of the Tarocchi's card shark ability. When the class would gain a higher level spell slot, it can use cards of the appropriate rank to cast those spells. For example, a sorcerer, which reaches 3rd level, can begin using jacks to cast 2nd level spells. An eldritch knight, which reaches 7th level, can do the same. Spells 1st level or higher are as they would be. Spellcasting ability as it would be. Ritual casting. If the class would have access to ritual casting, it retains that ability. Spellcasting focus. They can use the focus as they normally would. And then here we can see the change log that I had talked about. So you can see all of the differences here. Added multi-classing, expanded card list, and then there's that. And then here's all the legal junk. So, yeah, guys, I still really like this class even a year and a half later with new stuff. I think the new stuff added is great. I'm a big fan of it, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. Obviously, there's still some interest in it, as I do get occasional comments on it, enough to the fact where people wanted me to go and review it and see what I like about the new version. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is this worth... I mean, it is pay what you want on the DMs Guild, so you don't have to pay anything to play it. You can, obviously, if you so choose to. But I'm curious what you think. Would you play this? Would you allow this in a game where you a Dungeon Master? If you're a player, are you excited to play this? And I'm also curious, what is your favorite subclass? Which one do you like the most? Sorry the video is a little bit long, guys. About as long as the first time I reviewed it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and be on the lookout for more DMs Guild Spotlight content in the near future. I'll see you next time.